The exact moment I realised she'd lost all attraction to me was when that sparkle in her eyes completely disappeared. You know that look, when someone just looks at you and there's just life, there's interest, there's desire. That sparkle that says, I'm genuinely happy to see you. She went from looking at me like I was a hero to looking at me like I was just her charity case. And the thing is, I could feel it happening, but I didn't want to admit it to myself. What I discovered about why this happens, the actual science behind why women lose attraction, it changed everything for me. And I think it'll change everything for you as well. Because this isn't just about relationships. This is about understanding something fundamental about human nature that most people are just uncomfortable to talk about. Let me paint you a picture of where I was. I'd gone from 70 kilos in my early 20s, confident, ambitious, taking risks in business, training like a fucking madman, to 110 kilos of pure comfort. I got into a relationship and I thought, sweet, I don't need to impress anyone anymore. She loves me for who I am. So I stopped wearing suits and I started wearing hoodies and sweatpants. I stopped taking pride in how I looked. I chose the baggy clothes because they would hide my shame about the weight that I gained. I disconnected myself from social groups because I just wasn't happy with where I was financially. I kept changing jobs, chasing higher commissions, higher salaries, when I knew deep down I was just meant for more. I was meant to create, meant to build something meaningful. But instead I was just existing, getting comfortable, and comfort, I learned, is the enemy of attraction. The signals I missed were everywhere. Body language changes, less physical touch, less responsiveness in our conversations. She'd given me short answers, short responses. We just weren't as intimate anymore. And you know what the worst part is? She was trying to help me, but it wasn't coming from a position of attraction anymore. It was coming from a position of love. There's a difference. And once you feel it, you can't unfeel it. There would always be arguments, even though they weren't really over anything important. Little things would set us off. And looking back, I think it's because she was just trying to help me become the man she fell in love with. But the thing was, I'd get triggered because I was just angry at myself. I was angry at the situation I was in. I was angry that I wasn't living in alignment with who I knew deep down I was meant to be. So I started researching this because I needed to understand what was actually happening here. Dr. David Buss at the University of Texas, he's done quite extensive research on this. So he studied, I think, about 37 different cultures and found that women are biologically wired to monitor what he calls mate value constantly. When you stop displaying traits that signal strength, ambition, competitiveness, when you get comfortable, her brain doesn't just notice, it starts looking for alternatives. And a study published in the Royal Society found that physical strength accounts for most of male attractiveness to women. Not personality, not how nice you are, your capability, your competence. And here's the part that's going to make some people pretty uncomfortable. There's really no such thing as unconditional love in romantic relationships. That only exists with your parents because they brought you into this world. There's literally no strings attached there. Everything else, there's conditions. And one of those conditions is that you continue to be someone worth being attracted to. I used to believe in this idea that she should love me for who I am, regardless of what I become. But that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works. Men are designed to lead, protect, and provide. Women are designed to be caring, nurturing, supportive. When you abandon your role, when you stop being the man she can follow, the whole dynamic shifts. And I'm not saying this to be controversial. I'm just saying this because it's what I observed. It's what the research shows, and it's what changed my life when I finally accepted it. So what happened when I finally got serious about change? I lost the weight. I got back into the best shape of my life. I started pursuing my actual purpose instead of just chasing paychecks. Everything shifted. Now, my ex and I didn't end up staying together, but that's because I needed to do this work for me, not to save the relationship. And you know what? She still congratulates me on my achievements. Her family still follows me on social media. They've seen the journey, they've seen the transformation. We didn't end on bad terms, but we ended because we both recognized that I needed to become someone who I was meant to be. And sometimes that just means you got to walk different paths. But the difference in how I feel, how I show up in the world, the type of women I'm attracting now is completely different. I'm talking about attracting traditional women with family values, who are culturally grounded, high value women who don't just settle for someone. They choose someone because they see something worth choosing. And that's the difference between operating from scarcity versus abundance, between being someone's backup plan versus being someone's first choice. So if you're watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, here's what I want you to understand. Don't hold on to something that isn't there anymore. I made that mistake. Halfway through our relationship, maybe 3 years in or out of 6 or 7 total, I knew something had changed. I knew I wasn't myself anymore. I knew I'd lost my ambition, my focus, my hunger, my drive, my fire, my edge. I lost all of it. But I kept holding on to that idea that she was the one because she kept saying things like, "You're perfect the way you are. We'll figure this out together." And I bought into that. Like every guy would. I mean, it felt good at the time. I thought I was fine if it didn't train to that, if I didn't make the progress today, if I didn't make sales today, if I was just average today. I thought it was all good. But as soon as you realize you're not proud of yourself internally, you need to do something about it. You need to identify it right there and then, because you need to uncover the root cause and figure out what got you there in the first place. Because that version of you that attracted her isn't the same version of you that lost her. That's the difference that you need to understand. And to the guys watching this who's in that comfortable place right now, at whatever weight, whatever situation you're in, I want you to know, this is just the beginning. It's not the end. Yeah, you might feel like there's nothing left for you. You might be having these dark thoughts and just wanting to escape this pain, this embarrassment, this sense that you've lost yourself. But this is just the start of your journey, the beginning of your story. This is where everything changes for you. You just need to recognize it and understand that this discomfort is just the catalyst that's going to propel you forward. This is the chapter that you're meant to write. This isn't the last page. It's the first page of who you're about to become. Look, I know this might be hard to hear. Some of you are probably thinking this is harsh or unfair, or that I'm oversimplifying things. And maybe you're right about some of it. But I'm sharing what I lived, what I learned, and what worked for me. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Tell me about your wake-up moment. When did you realize you'd gotten too comfortable? What was the thing that made you say, I need to change? And if you want more honest conversations about growth, about transformation, about becoming the person that you're meant to be, hit subscribe. Because I'm going to keep sharing these experiences, these insights, these uncomfortable truths that actually lead to real change. If you're ready to stop being comfortable and start being proud of who you see in the mirror, I'm building a community of men who are done settling for average. The link for a conversation is in the description. We can talk about where you are, where you want to be, and how to get there without the bullshit. Your comfort zone is not your friend. Your comfort zone is where dreams go to die. But your discomfort, your dissatisfaction with where you are, that's your GPS pointing you toward who you're meant to become. Honor that signal, follow that path. I'll see you in the next one.